Work order write-up and review. So let's go start a work order. So again, you can start a work order from here, which is your work in progress. You can also start a work order from your prioritization. You can go up here and start a work order. And there's actually a third place back here you can do this, and that is through your contacts. So if I go to my contacts, again, you're going to have to find a contact and a vehicle that you're going to work on. So either way, I can start a work order. If I have a customer that comes in the door, I go look them up. Here he is in my location. If I open it up, I can find the vehicle. And again, if you are part of a multi-location, if you don't find them in your location, you can search the other locations and then you can copy that contact over along with the vehicle. So you want to make sure you copy the contact and the vehicle. If you don't find the customer, you can add. Then you can add your contact in. It'll start a blank card. Once you have it in, then you can add a vehicle to that card. If you have a customer that brings in a new vehicle, you simply click on the customer, and then you can add a new vehicle to that customer. Same thing, right click, add a vehicle or a service item. So to search for a contact, I can search by name, phone number, or email. I can also search for them by their vehicle. License plate, any 6 digits or more of the VIN, or a unit number. So either way, I still have to look them up. Now let's go back out of here. And we're going to use prioritization. So I'm going to go start a work order. Again, find the contact or the vehicle. Click on the vehicle, and it will load it on the right side. So this is imperative that you highlight the vehicle. If you do not highlight the vehicle, the system will want to make a counter sale. So let me show you how this is going to look. See no vehicle here. If I hit next, it's going to let me know I didn't select a vehicle. It will turn into a counter sale ticket. A counter sale is just a work order with no vehicle on it. So none of your online cataloging, labor guides, nothing will work because you don't have a vehicle. So you do not want to do this. Make sure you highlight, and now we go to our next screen. So here will be the screen where I'd add any services, concerns, inspections, anything that I'm going to do. Now, if a customer just comes in for a specific service, such as an oil change, tire rotation, things like that, then yes, just you can go and select it directly. You can also search by code or a title. See, if I type in the word lube here, it's going to pull up anything that has the word lube in it and any past services. So I could actually click and I can add this to the work order and reuse this. Just bear in mind that the pricing will be what it is on the day that service was done. So you do have to relook up the parts again. You'll have your part numbers, the original prices you sold it at, and same thing with the labor. But you will be able to utilize that information to relook it up. If I just want to add one, I certainly can. Now, how do I know which one to use? A helpful tool we have is our flyouts. So if I click on my little vehicle here, I can come over here, pull up the spec page, and then I can look, there's my recommended viscosity. See it's saying synthetic, original equipment. So we're recommending synthetic. So let's just go put a new oil change on. So I'm gonna click, and I'm gonna add. And again, we're gonna add a courtesy inspection on here. Now, if they do have a particular problem with something, we can certainly do that. If he says, well, I have a problem with my battery or something, maybe it goes dead, I can go look for the concern for the battery. Now here I'm looking under this category. A lot of the templates, they'll have a completely separate category with nothing but concerns in them. That's all they'll have. So I'm going to use this one. Here I can put in any information. Now remember, this information is going to be going out to your technicians. So maybe they say it goes dead overnight or something like that. Type it in. You can put in whatever else you want. You can also delete stuff out of here. So we'll add. Do I want to do a pinpoint inspection, a battery test, maybe a diagnosis? So we'll just throw in a diagnosis here. So again, I'm telling a story. Concerns will be at the top, inspection second, services third. I'm going to hit next. This screen here represents any work that we recommended on previous visits. Now it will list all of the items that we've deferred on previous visits. At any time, I can come in here and click on an item, and this is where I'm going to talk to the customer about this work. If they decide that they don't want to deal with it today, but they still want to keep it in deferred, then just leave it alone, and you're going to hit next to go on to the next screen. Sometimes people will defer the same type of job over and over. So you might have this job in here 2 or 3 times. You can click on any job and see what your dates are, invoices, odometer, and the totals you quoted. And if you need to delete, maybe you had in there 2 times or 3 times, you can just highlight it and you can delete this deferred work. The third thing you can do also is you can remedy. Remedy allows you to go in here and tell the system that the service was performed, but not by you. Maybe they took it somewhere else. So you would put approximate date, mileage, where they went and had it done. And when you hit OK, it'll remove the deferred work and it will put it in the history of the vehicle that it was done, but not by you. So you will have a record. You're creating your own record in here is what you're doing. And the most common thing you're going to do here is they say they want to get this done while they're here. I'm going to add it to the new work order. So that removes it from the deferred, and now it's on the new work order. You'll notice there's a last mileage up here on the right side and a current mileage. Always try to get the current mileage if at all possible. The reason being is going to be for the next screen. So when I hit next, this is going to be my service interval screen. Now, depending on the shop that you're at, some people have this turned on, some people have this turned off during the write-up. So at this point here, what it's going to do is it's going to look at the mileage or kilometers if you're in Canada, and it's going to pull up the next service coming due. Now, the key to using this properly is to not do this as one service. If I do this as one service, it's going to itemize all these items on the work order itself. We don't want to do that. What we want to do is go here, and if we want to utilize this, I can click, and what it will do is when I go to add this to the work order, it actually gives me the checklist. Now, this is not to say you have to use the same one that's coming up here. I can always open this up and I can look at maybe something we might have missed, in the past. Or it could be something that's coming up in the future. Pretty limited on this one. Sometimes you're going to have normal and severe. Now, typically nowadays, normal and severe are just one. They're pretty much the same. So I'm going to go hit next. Here I have the capability of adding reminders. Now you might have a group of reminders that you want to add, or your shop has set up 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 different groups. So here I can actually assign these to a vehicle. So what's the idea behind a reminder? So if I go here and do this oil service one, and I assign it, what the system will do is it immediately starts looking back in the history of the vehicle to let you know anytime we have performed this service. Now you might have one service, you might have multiple services here, but it will always go back and look in the history of the vehicle first. Here it's letting you know the last time that service was performed and the next time it's due. So the idea is, as I'm writing work orders, I can quickly tell what services are coming up, maybe something that's not due yet. The nice thing about this is you can customize this to this particular vehicle. You notice my time is 4 months or 5,000 miles. What if I want to change it? I can click on it, right click, and I can do an edit. I can change the mileage. I can change the time. I can even change it to days if I want to. You can also change this to a fixed date. If it had a service in here that was not done, or if I want to add more, I can simply click, right click. Let's say I want to add something else. I can go search in my list of reminders. Maybe we want to throw in a tire rotation. And you'll notice here, there's no record of it being done. See, so now I have something to talk to about my customer and say, look, we don't have any records of rotating your tires. We try to do that at least once a year. And again, I can edit, I can remedy. So what would remedy be? It's just like deferred work in a sense. I can go in and tell the system that it was done, maybe not by you. Maybe they got a tire store they go to at the end of the month. And they had it done. Went to the tire store, select the appropriate job, hit OK, and see now we've manually entered that. So from this point forward, it's always tracking this. Every time you write a work order, the system will also utilize this to try to get you to book the next appointment. And it'll pull up these reminders when we go to post it out to an invoice. We hit next. Now we're at our finish screen. You notice Service Advisor is already selected. That's because I'm logged in as the Service Advisor. If I'm ready to go ahead and assign a technician, I certainly can. If not, I can leave it at none. I hit finish. And now I have a work order. You'll notice as soon as you start this, there will not be a work order number. So if I'm going to leave this open, for example, I might want to start looking up parts and things like that. I would recommend save. That way it issues a work order number right away. If you don't do that, typically most people just save and close. Now here's where you want to be a little careful. If I schedule today, that means I'm scheduling it later today as an appointment. So what'll happen is it'll go into the work in progress as an appointment. If I don't do anything with this by the end of the day, it will automatically move it to the no-show appointments. So it'll disappear. Okay. Then you'll have to go find it tomorrow. Typically, it's going to be vehicle on site. So now I have it in, it's unassigned. In other words, I have not assigned a technician. If I would have done this future work, it would be as a scheduled future work, just like an appointment. It's the end of section 1.